Hey guys, I hope you're well. My name is Blakemore. I teach, travel and sometimes triumph, and this is going to be a teach video. If you could go back 3, 5, 10 years, what would you say to yourself? What messages, what things would you tell yourself based on the experiences that you've had? I recently created a video where I needed to do a little bit of reflection based on things that had happened in the past. One of my biggest regrets is not creating this YouTube channel earlier. However, on reflection, I started to think about my NQT year. Now, my NQT year wasn't perfect. I'm not the perfect teacher, and I'm not really the perfect teacher now. But there are a range of things that I've learned over my 3 years teaching that I would tell myself now based on the experiences that I've had through teaching. So what I wanted to do in this video is talk through my experiences. I wanted to talk about my class that I had in the past, but also start to break down and almost write myself a letter, a dear teacher letter, where I talk to that guy 3 years ago and tell him the things that I wish I knew now. So I'm hoping that as the viewer, you can start to pick out some of the information that I give myself and apply it towards your teaching. If you're an NQT, then this will serve you fantastically. If you're not an NQT and you're a teacher anyway, then there might still be some key messages that you can pick out from the things that I tell myself back then. My NQT year was both extremely tough, but also extremely rewarding at the same time. So I wanted to talk about my class to start off with. There were 34 Year 5 and 6s in that class. Now, within that class, there was also a high proportion of EAL, English with Additional Language, and also a fairly high proportion of SEN, Special Educational Needs children within that class. Now, I always remember a conversation that I had with my head teacher at the end of the year where I sort of went into his office and talked about my year, and he sort of said, to be fair to you, Thomas, you've had a year group with 5 key characters, let's call it, where if you took one of those out of the class and put them into a different class, then it would sort of stir up the mix, if that makes sense. So it was quite tough in terms of behaviour management, but I know that it's formed me to be the teacher that I am now. But the mistakes that I made were still mistakes that I could have potentially avoided, and I wanted to sort of share those with you now. So, as the title of the video says, Dear New Teacher, Thomas Blakemore. So it's your first day at school. It's September and you're absolutely buzzing. You're so excited to get into the classroom and start with your class. But before that, it was summer and you spent a lot of time during summer making sure that your classroom was ready. Before that, it was transition day. And that transition day. So during that transition day, you made one key mistake, and that was not focusing on relationships. During that transition day, you needed to make sure that the children completed the work that you'd set. You wanted it to be a high standard, and you wanted it to be on the walls, so that when you came in summer, you could at least form one display. Now, you weren't wrong doing that. However, in the pursuit of trying to make sure that those pieces of work were completed to a high standard, you neglected the relationships. And that is something that you then focused on during that first week, but could have started off on a better footing during that transition day. Make sure that your transition days are extremely relationship focused. Start to establish relationships by creating and forming a range of games that will help the children become more familiar with you and their future class. So it's the summer, and you spent a huge amount of time in school making sure that your classroom was perfect. You made sure that all the book labels were done. You made sure that all the pencils were labelled, all the pens were labelled. So it's the summer, and Thomas, you spent far too long in school during the summer making sure that that classroom was perfect. Now, fair play to you, you wanted to do well, but you made sure that the classroom was perfect. You took pictures and made sure that the desk tidies had a specific order. You made sure that all the pens had personalised names on them. You made sure all the pencils had labels with names on them. You made sure that all the displays were backed and decorated. That involved downloading a specific Pokemon font, printing all that out, cutting it out, laminating it, cutting it out again, sticking that up on a display, making sure that display looked perfect. A different display was McDonald's theme, where you had a range of different synonyms, and you went to McDonald's and just ordered a load of cups, and they fell apart in the first day. don't do that. Think about your environment. What do the children actually want? And what is going to be purposeful for the children? Is the fancy displays actually going to have much of an impact on the children's learning? Because believe it or not, Thomas, the best display that you made was the one that simply had a few whiteboards sort of put together so that the children or yourself could mark it and annotate pieces, and almost like a working wall. Think about the purpose of your displays. That way, you're not going to be spending too much time of your summer, because it's a long summer, doing bits in your classroom. You can enjoy the summer so that when you come back to school, you're well rested and ready. Thomas, you wanted to make sure that every lesson was absolutely perfect, so spent a huge amount of time during that first month creating so many different resources. And to be fair, there's nothing wrong with that. However, you've also got to understand that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are websites such as TES, you've got paid websites such as Twinkle, Grammarsaurus, Classroom Secrets. You've also got big teaching packs on Plan B that have a range of resources that are available for you. And I guarantee that there are things on there that you were literally just about to create. So just think about your time, the importance of using your time wisely elsewhere, and the importance of not reinventing the wheel for every single lesson. Talking about that, I know that to start off with, you're not going to believe me when I say this, but it's okay to not be okay. Believe it or not, soon enough, you're going to become really tired really quickly, because you will want to make sure that everything is perfect, and when things go wrong, take it all on your shoulders and bear the load of something that has not gone well. The people that you have developed relationships with will soon show themselves to be extremely supportive, and that is really, really important, because you need to make sure that you go to those people and actually seek advice from them. Believe it or not, the people around you are expecting there to be moments where you will need more support. There is going to be areas where you have weaknesses, and your mentors will show you that it's okay to not be okay in certain areas. At the same time, when things are getting really tough in terms of behavior management, when things are getting really tough in terms of workload and stress, you have mentors around you. Your mentors are fantastic, and they will be really, really supportive when you go to them. At the end of the day, they want you to do well. They want you to really support the team that you are in, so are going to be there when you need that support. The last tip that I'd give you is an easy one to give you, because I know that there are days where you do this automatically, but there are going to be days where you really don't, and you'll be thinking, yeah, I don't want to do this teaching business anymore. And that is to enjoy it and love them in an empathy way. When you do this, you will start to realize that this job is more than just about academics. It's more than just about results. It's about developing the person and the child as a whole. And that is really, really important for you to learn in this NQT year, because when you do that, you start to realize that the relationships that you develop are critical. And when that happens, the children will learn more from you. I guess the theme with all of that is understanding that the most important resource to the children is you. So look after yourself, make sure that you enjoy the year, and hopefully take the tips on board. So yeah, I'd love to know from you guys as a viewer, what tips would you give yourself as an NQT? What tips would you give yourself as a student? Because hopefully by sharing those tips, we can create a really supportive platform that connects teachers and helps them. Anyway guys, fingers crossed you've learned something from this video. My key message is that if one person has found this somewhat useful, then that's my job done. If you want to see more teaching videos, then you can click down in my channel where I make a range of teaching, traveling videos that aim to help. Anyway guys, I hope to see you in the next one. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, all of that business, and yeah, I'm out guys. See you soon.